History and pop culture are full of surprises, and some are so bizarre they sound completely fake. But the truth is often stranger than fiction. From rabbits launching an attack on a French emperor to a war triggered over a wooden bucket, these stories prove that the past is packed with unbelievable moments. Imagine the great Napoleon Bonaparte being chased off a field, not by soldiers, but by rabbits. During a planned rabbit hunt, Napoleon's men released hundreds of tame bunnies for a fun shooting session. But instead of scattering, the rabbits charged straight at him and his officers. It turns out the rabbits were too tame and thought the emperor had come to feed them. The scene turned chaotic, with animals swarming his legs and even jumping into carriages. In the end, Napoleon had to flee in humiliation. It's a hilarious reminder that even history's giants aren't safe from the unexpected. In the 1300s, Italy saw one of its most ridiculous wars, started over a stolen bucket. The War of the Oaken Bucket began when soldiers from Modena stole a wooden pail from a well in Bologna. Furious, the Bolognese declared war to retrieve the prized object. The two cities fought fiercely, and hundreds died over the insult. Modena won and proudly kept the bucket as a trophy, where it still sits in a museum today. This bizarre conflict proves that pride and power often matter more than reason. Sometimes, a war isn't about land. It's about ego in the form of wood. It's wild, but true. Cleopatra lived closer in time to the invention of the iPhone than to the construction of the Great Pyramid. The Great Pyramid was completed around 2560 BC, while Cleopatra ruled around 30 BC. That's a gap of over 2,000 years, longer than the time between her reign and the 2007 release of the iPhone. This flips how we view history, collapsing timelines that we assume are close together. Ancient Egypt was already ancient to Cleopatra. It's a fascinating fact that makes her world feel oddly modern, and ours feel more connected to hers. The Eiffel Tower, now the symbol of Paris, was once seen as a monstrous eyesore. Designed by Gustave Eiffel for the 1889 World's Fair, it was only meant to stand for 20 years. Parisians hated it, calling it ugly and useless. After the fair, city officials nearly tore it down. But when radio communication became essential, the tower proved useful for sending signals. That practicality saved it from destruction. Today, it's one of the most visited structures in the world. Proof that even the most hated ideas can become iconic if given time. The Flaming Viking funeral wasn't just movie fantasy. It was a real tradition for the honored dead. Elite warriors and important leaders were placed on wooden boats with their weapons, armor, and treasures. Then, the vessel was set on fire and pushed out to sea, a symbol of their passage to Valhalla. It wasn't common for every Viking, but when it happened, it was grand and spiritual. This dramatic ritual reflected their belief in the afterlife and bravery. Even in death, Vikings went out with fire, honor, and spectacle. Believe it or not, the Tower of Pisa didn't start out with a lean. When construction began in 1173, it stood upright. But by the time they reached the second floor, soft soil beneath one side caused the tower to begin tilting. Engineers tried to fix it for centuries, but the lean became part of its identity. Ironically, it's now the reason tourists flock to see it. Without the tilt, it might have been just another bell tower. What was once an error in design became a historic and cultural treasure. A war without violence. One did exist, and it lasted over 3 centuries. The so-called war between the Netherlands and the Isles of Scilly, off England's coast, began in 1651. But since there were no battles and no casualties, both sides simply forgot about it. It wasn't until 1986 that a peace treaty was officially signed. That means this odd diplomatic oversight held the title for the longest war in history. Sometimes ending conflict is just a matter of remembering it exists. Bureaucracy, it turns out, can last longer than bullets. The Catholic Church once held court for a corpse, literally. In 897 AD, Pope Stephen VI ordered the body of his predecessor, Pope Formosus, exhumed and placed on trial. Clothed in papal robes and propped on a throne, the lifeless body was questioned and eventually found guilty of perjury and violating church law. The punishment: his body was thrown into the Tiber River. Known as the Cadaver Synod, this grotesque display of power and politics shows how far religious feuds could go. Even death didn't grant peace in medieval Rome. Ancient Roman hygiene included one very unexpected ingredient: urine. Rich in ammonia, urine was used as a natural cleaning agent. Citizens believed it could whiten teeth and kill bacteria, and it was commonly found in public laundry stations and even dental care. Workers collected urine in large pots placed in the streets. While disgusting by today's standards, it actually worked as a mild cleanser. This wasn't a joke. It was daily life in the Roman Empire. Cleanliness in ancient times came with a heavy dose of pea-powered logic. In 1666, London went up in flames, and ironically, it helped the city survive a worse fate. Though the Great Fire destroyed much of central London, it caused surprisingly few human deaths. However, it wiped out thousands of rats carrying the bubonic plague. Historians believe this unintentional cleansing helped stop a major outbreak. The flames that consumed homes also burned away disease. Sometimes tragedy and relief come from the same source. Destruction saved lives, and a disaster became a strange form of healing. The movie industry began with a blink, literally. In 1888, Roundhay Garden Scene was filmed in England and became the world's first motion picture. It lasts just 2.11 seconds, showing 4 people walking and laughing in a garden. Though it seems tiny now, this moment sparked a revolution. From that flicker of life came entire worlds of cinema, storytelling, and culture. It all started with a few frames, and from that seed, Hollywood was born. The man who created the world's most famous mouse had a deep fear of real ones. Walt Disney, despite building an empire on Mickey Mouse, was reportedly afraid of actual rodents. It's ironic, but it's also poetic. He took a personal fear and transformed it into something beloved by millions. This creative twist proves that even the things that scare us most can become powerful inspirations. From fear came one of the most successful characters in animation. Sometimes, greatness begins with facing your fears. America's longest-running cartoon has an uncanny talent for prophecy. The Simpsons has predicted dozens of real events. Trump's presidency, smartwatches, Disney buying Fox, and even specific sports results. These predictions, made years before the events, have left fans stunned. Whether it's sharp writing, coincidence, or a mix of both, the show has become famous for seeing the future. Behind the jokes lies a strange window into reality. This cartoon isn't just funny, it's weirdly accurate. Magic might be fictional, but the controversy around it is very real. The Harry Potter series has faced bans in various countries and schools for promoting witchcraft or anti-religious themes. In some places, the books have even been burned publicly. What started as a story about friendship and courage sparked debates about morality and belief. Censorship hit the fantasy world hard, showing how powerful words and stories can be. Literature, it seems, still holds real-world power. Every Pixar film holds more than just emotion. It hides treasure, known for their hidden Easter eggs. Pixar animators sneak characters, numbers, and symbols into scenes across movies. The Pizza Planet truck, A1-13, and even characters from future films make surprise appearances. These hidden gems connect films into a shared universe, rewarding fans who watch closely. It's more than fun. It's brilliant storytelling. Every frame holds magic, and every background may contain a secret waiting to be discovered.